all know I went to the greatest boot camp in the world called Paris Island. That's in South Carolina. You guys are all Hollywood Marines, so I have to. Did you go to PI, Buzz? Yes?
No, Hollywood.
Hollywood, oh, okay. When I got out of boot camp, they sent me straight to Camp Lejeune. That's in North Carolina. Oh, Diamond was in PI.
Yes, sir.
Another guy, okay. And from there, I was there a couple of months, and they sent me to Vieques, Puerto Rico for 3 months of training. And what we did down there was, I was in close air support, and we worked with observation plane. And the Navy was bombing everything with sandbags. And after that, I did that twice. And the second time I did it, they had live fire. So that's when they taught us how to use these panels for UN troops and for the enemy. I also was trained while I was down there on a 50 caliber water-cooled machine gun and a 30 caliber, which is two great weapons. They gave us a BAR, I refused. The Marine Corps, when I was in, everything was in threes. You had 3 men on a fire team, 3 squads in a platoon, 3 platoons in a company, 3 companies in a battalion, and so on and so forth. I don't know how they did it in Vietnam, but that's the way they did it when I was in. From there, I went to Cherry Point for 2 months, trained there, and then I went to El Toro, California, and I trained for another 2 months. From there, I went to Sasebo, Japan, while my platoon traveled by boat to Korea. And from there, I went to a town, let me see, called Haeju. It was in North Korea. Now I want to go fast forward because I don't know how much time we got here. Haeju was in what we called Las Vegas area. It was Carson City, Las Vegas, Reno, and one other one. And those were all, they didn't call their company fires a firefight, they call it battles in Korea. I worked on the ground with close air support. I was in a mass group, and I was in the 2nd Squadron. I worked with the observation plane, which was like a Piper Cub, 2 guys in there. And when they called us down to my radio operator, they told me where the enemy was. I called the colonel. Colonel called back and says, go lay your panels. That's what I did. We laid panels in front of the UN troops so they didn't get killed, because before that was friendly fire from the planes were killing a lot of guys. And then they told us where the enemy was. We went in a half a mile, we had recon outfit with us, and we laid the panels like for bombing, napalm, machine guns, and we left them there at night. So the damn Chinese, oh, by the way, only fought 2 outfits of North Koreans, the rest were all Chinese. And don't get me wrong, they were good fighters, but they didn't have the weaponry then. It was like, they had 1 burp gun between 3 guys. When one got the guy that had the burp gun, got killed, they picked it up, and so on. It was a crazy war. Now, in Haeju was an area, it was a big thing that happened there. Let me get this piece here. This is really interesting. The ceasefire, which was on July 27th of '53, 2 days before that, the Chinese tried to get into Sanchon River Valley, and they wanted to prove to the North Koreans that they were smarter than the Marines and then everybody, and they were going to get some extra ground for them. They started with about 60,000. They ended up with coming after us with 30,000. They did not know for 125 miles across Korea, every UN troop was out there. We annihilated 30,000. I was on a 50 caliber machine gun, and I don't know how many I killed, but they were all dead. Then, after that, they had to cease fire, but with all the ammo we had, and we were waiting for them, it was unreal. I mean, that's the first time I've seen a battle like that. No, we didn't take no prisoners, no prisoners. That night, the Turks came up to us and asked if they could go out there and do their little thing. We said, go ahead, you're gonna do it anyway. They went out and cut ears off of the enemy and gave them back to their commander, and they got 50 cents for every set of ears they had. The other guys went out there with their 45s and opened their mouths and hit their teeth and got the gold out of them. Crazy people. I don't know what else to say, but I enjoyed my time. I was in the Corps. I would have stayed in, but I had a wife that was an idiot. Hey, she told me, I got a picture of her, I'll show it to you. She was something else. I told my son that she was a witch. He says, no, she ain't that way. He found out. Any other? Okay, I'm gonna ask. Anybody got a question? Oh, 1 second. The guys that scarf I showed you, they came in, I never did see them until November 10th of '53. By the way, I was in Korea from April of '53 to '54. I was in combat the day I got there. Immediately, they says, oh, fresh body. I was a platoon sergeant. My platoon was coming in. They stuck me with them. Okay, question.
You mentioned panels. Can you describe what you were doing with the panels and what they were?
Oh, panels
and
was...
the second part of that, because I've heard you talk about that part, was I think you might have met Chesty Puller and...
Oh, I met Chesty Puller and that's right. I met, he came up, we were in El Turo, and he came, we were having a parade that day, and he came through the ranks, and I had an M1, and he grabbed my M1, and I thought, who the hell are you? And then I found out later it was Puller. So yes, I seen him twice, basically. I seen him when I was at Camp Lejeune in '50. Once again, the Chinese were very good fighters. I wouldn't want to fight them today. I think they could probably kick ass now. I hate to say that.
So on the panels...
The panels we put down were 10 foot wide and 20 foot long. this way. Now, if it was for the UN area, we put white panels down. That meant when the dive bombers came in, they knew what the friendly troops were. And that went all the way across Korea. And there's one guy that knows the question I'm going to ask now. You know, the Marines were the first people to use helicopters in Korea. You know what year?
1950.
1950.
Incheon.
That's right. Also, we had the plane that was observation was a Cessna. We had Corsairs, and we had the Phantom jet. We didn't have the Sabre jets yet. They were made by Grumman. And that's the jet we had over there, and they were fast.
On those panels again, so whenever you guys found the enemy, you guys had to sneak up and lay these panels down
We, yeah, we did
and
it
then
like,
run back away
well, we stayed there to see if,
to make
you
sure
know,
that they bombed the
if they were
right
coming up, it'd be a mile away. We went out at night and did it. But we took a weapons company with, platoon with us. And they had, more weapons than I ever seen in my life.
How'd you affix them to the ground?
Huh?
How'd you stake them out?
Stake them out?
Did you stake them out?
Or did you just lay them down?
Just lay them down?
Light them down, they were vinyl and they were heavy enough.
It didn't blow away.
Each squad carried one panel, the whole squad. So we had 3 panels up there. You figure how many companies we had out there. Everybody had, everybody had a job to do. That's what you did. There was guys that got wounded, but they were stupid.
Were the panels solid colors or did they have
Solid color,
shapes?
white for the troops, the UN troops. And if it was, like say it was strafing, they were black and white and looked like checkerboard.
Wow.
And they knew that's what they had to do and what they do. The observation plane, there was 2 of them got shot down, so they told them to go fly about 500,000 feet up there.
Wow.
And if you want to ask me how far the M1 could only shoot, 993 yards. So these guys that say they can shoot 2,000 yards and hit somebody, they're using a long barrel rifle. The CM1's a mean weapon.
John, tell them about that baseball player that you ran into over there.
That was Ted Williams, and he got shot down twice, and he went back home, I think in early '53. But he was a hell of a pilot. He's well decorated. He's naturally gone now. We had a few aces. Yes.
I read a book about Ted Williams, and in pilot training, some of it back then, and probably still maybe even now do, he set marks for gunnery accuracy that still stand.
That's right.
No one has ever beaten his score on, again, this is shooting at towed banners, just towing it, and this is with a machine gun while going, I'm not sure how fast, but he set records that were never broken because of his eyesight. That was made him a good hitter in baseball. His eyesight was phenomenal. And he proved it out on the gunnery range.
Well, I heard the story that when he went down the second time, he went in the UN area, or when they went to get him, they sent another plane in there to get him. He was sitting there smoking a cigar in the wing, waiting for him. Yes.
So, to wrap it up, I'm putting you on the spot on this one. 1 funny story having to do with your Marine Corps career, boot camp, something that you want to share with us?
The funniest one, I think, is I was in Camp Lejeune, walking down the sidewalk, and this gal was coming down there, and I walked right past her, and she turned around and said, "Hey, Marine." And I stopped. I says, "Yes, ma'am." She says, "How come you didn't salute me?" I says, "Because you don't have nothing up here." I got sarcastic with her. And she said, "Son of a bitch, I forgot it again."
Thank you very much, John.
Thank you. You're welcome. If you want to ask me anything after, just come